Hey, Chris. I think we're making good progress on the troop transport and the drop star mechs. So let me show you what I've got in game since we have this roughed out. As you can see here, the good part is that I kind of have a sense for how big these will be in game, kind of how the player deals with them. Also, I think we might be able to get away with just using the assets bolted together in the way that I've done them, which is super cool. So all I've done here is I just took these and I just layered them as a stack, and that actually gives us kind of this undulation, which is really cool. So and if we don't have to put in new art for pieces, all the better. Placeholders for the jets on the feet for or on the thrusters, right? And then the other piece of this is, as you can see, that when they come in, so I had to take the art and I stretched it vertically. I'll put those sprites back into onto the trailer card so you can see them. But this gives me pretty close to the way I'm trying to get the feel for how these things come in. The other side of this too is that we can, from a gameplay perspective, I can also have them come in something like this too. So we don't always have to see all of them if I need to give more space for gameplay. And then you can see here for the drop star mechs, I kind of just put we probably have this nice big kind of back exhaust jet thing. I already talked to Dimitri about that, which would be pretty cool. He had some interesting ideas for I think for the ankles. And then we'll figure out what things look like from here. But I figured like this would give you kind of a good sense for what we're going for. All right. And then in terms of design bits, so I think what I've decided to do is why don't we try to build these like we built the Robonoids. So the Robonoids here, we basically have these kind of like additional pieces that are attached, like kind of give additional things to shoot and things that blow up and all that good stuff. So I could easily see us doing something like, hey, we got one of these bad boys. Boop, get over here. And I'm like, we might need to, maybe is it a flip? Maybe it's a flip. Maybe I can just get a flip. Flip. Raz it. Symmetry. Like this. Doot, doot. And then, bloop. There we go. It won't be quite in the right perspective. So, and I'm not saying we have to necessarily use these in particular, we have to use this exact asset, but I wanted to give you a sense for what I was thinking. So we can, potentially have these things bolted onto the cars or onto the troop transports. And I think that might actually work pretty well. So yeah, and it could be that we use the turrets. That gives us the ability to have a bit more of a modular system for doing things. It's also going to be bedlam, so I got to be careful with how many things that we that we kind of bolt to these things. But I thought I would share with you what I've got here. Okay, so that basically is this here. So we can take the turret explorations off of the off the art itself. Doesn't mean that we wouldn't create maybe specific ones or alternate versions. I was just coming back in here to take a look at these guys here, right? So we're getting close, but I could see us having a case where maybe it's not the same base, but we could use these cannons. Could be the same base as well, and that we can attach those to some of these troop transports. All right, and then also over here. So aside from the art we talked about here, I kind of like these kind of thruster exhaust things. I think we can probably iterate on them a little bit to refine them, make them look a little bit more sci-fi-ish. Here, decaling, I'm a sucker for that. I like this kind of in my mind, right? Like this is like a force field wall that also is like an AR display or an augmented reality display or or like a hollow projector. So we'll be able to see through these things. They're mirrored on the backside. So we'll have some transparency. I think that'll be nice. It won't be like crazy transparent, but that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So here with the octagonal pattern, this pattern's a little bit funky looking, but with a mixture of this, again, these are about like, I want to have this kind of like sense of advertising or billboards. Since these take up a lot of space, we might break them out as separate assets, which is probably the thing we'll do. so we can have a little bit of flicker. It doesn't have to be a lot. And then that also gives us the ability to have the drop star mechs. We can have, when it's transparent, we can have these guys also as part of just the asset setup. We could set them up to be attached and on the backside, so you're kind of seeing them through that transparency. So, and then probably the last thing here is, while these guys drop down and they've kind of got this like strong penetration thing, I think this troop transport will be a delivery service for different types of enemies. So, and even within the same enemy types, like I could see a bunch of these guys kind of swinging out. Perhaps maybe we can have some of the right shield mechs that come out of these things. So I think it'll be kind of fun to play around with in that space. So that's kind of, I like the elements here. We have to be careful because I don't want to squash. I want to leave a lot of space for the interior because again, this is about the right sizing in game, so we can fudge it a little bit, but not by much more. So that was those things. And then down here, I like the idea of the billboards here that we talked about here. And then let's see if we can work some of these trim elements in along with the thrusters, kind of mix these together. I think we can get a really nice effect here. I like that we're breaking up the silhouette here. We got this kind of machinery bits. Again, I think we'll need to make sure it's vertically stretched out enough so they don't eat up too much space. No more so than kind of what we kind of got here. And then I think those are the main things. So let me take a screenshot of this for you so you have it. Drop that on the Trello card. And I'm looking forward to the next remix. I hope you like seeing what this looked like in game. It was a lot of fun kind of putting these things through. I got the in-game asset names, and then let me see, the other side of this is, what do we got here? So Paltech, so the troop transport. So let's switch over to the pardon me, the correct in-game asset names so we can replace them as we go, which is good, so we can look at them in game. And let's see, so models, enemy, sprites, Paltech. All right, so we got these guys here. I don't need that anymore. And then we got this, and there was one other one. Oh yeah, the drop mech. Okay, cool. So did I attach the? I did not. Okay, cool. And then for the next version, let's iterate with this in mind. I think the shape is good. The rotation is good. That I think that these guys fill a really nice spot. And I think we still get to see a little bit more details being from we're not even as close to a 3/4 view, but I think that works fine. So, and then the last thing here is, all right, cool. So here, just in case. So with the drop star mech, so on a 256 by 256, let me see here. Did I scale that up in game? See. Okay, so I did scale it up a little bit. What I'll probably do here is I'll set these back to 100% scale. But then I think what we can do is let's bump up to a 512 sprite sheet, and I don't think we'll be as claustrophobic on the sheet itself. So, and God, that's such a huge texture. But because we were scaled up by 25%, it's probably going to be something like this, I think. It's a lot of VRAM for that. So for the time being now, let's just keep the I think we can keep these guys in 256 by 256, and I'll leave them scaled up in engine just a smidge. I think that will work pretty fine. If we have to bump up to a higher resolution, we certainly can. We always work at one resolution higher anyways, so just keep that in mind. Okay, I think those were all the details. Oh, also, let me see here. Just so you see it. Pow. All right. And then, yeah, so you can see here that I took and I needed to, compared to the version that I got from you, I broke the art a little bit by basically just stretching it vertically. So, go ahead and account for that. But this should be basically the size that it takes up on the sprite sheet itself. So these are big chunky boys. I think we're going to get a lot of good mileage out of these. But yeah, that is the gist. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.